He-Man. You remember He-Man? If you're like a 40, 50-year-old man. Remember He-Man?
No.
Various studios have spent a lot of time trying to get Masters of the Universe off the ground. And this isn't necessarily a franchise that has a lot of pull anymore. It's not something that people really know. It is He-Man. If you haven't really watched the cartoons when you were a kid, and I'm saying like that's 50-year-old men, you're not really gonna be jazzed hyped for this film, but it's out. We have it. I don't know who it's for, but it's
It's
here.
somehow on the big screen. Very strange movie, I have to say, because yeah, as you said, who's it aimed at? It just feels like an amalgamation of films that we've seen throughout the years, and studios are like, sprinkle this, sprinkle that, and then get some kind of glue to make Masters of the Universe work.
It feels very much a response to the MCU in the MCU's heyday. If this film had come out off the heels of Guardians 2 and Thor Ragnarok, so kind of 2017, 2018, I think it would have done much better.
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
You're trying to re-energize a brand that nobody really cares about.
It's just like hyping up for one guy in the world, like, yeah, you ready for this film? Get your popcorn buckets. Wow.
He's just really excited for this movie.
Yeah, but there are some good things, I have to say, with this movie.
Plenty.
But it's a very, 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 very conventional story with a guy from Earth trying to become a hero in Eternia. It's very much like a hero's journey. He's looking for a sword, and then later on, there's some Kung Fu Panda stuff that goes on later on with it's not done well, in my opinion, as well. So it's nothing new.
It's Travis Knight, director of Bumblebee.
Travis Knight, yeah.
Come on. This guy's
Come
got
on.
some great stuff under his belt. He's the man behind Leica. He's directed some of those. He did Bumblebee. He's made a lot of good films. And very clearly, him and everyone involved in this film have a lot of love and respect for He-Man in all its different forms. There's the scene with the meme song, the you know the one.
Yeah.
There's a scene with that, and it's like a little fun callback. Like the ending is very classic He-Man. I mean, I'm a fan of He-Man. I grew up with that shit. I had He-Man on the PSP. I think like season 1. I just had it on the PSP because, of course, that was a thing that that existed back in the 2000s.
I did not know that existed, even though I had the PSP. Yeah, I remember you showed me the other stuff, but not He-Man. I don't know why.
I enjoyed He-Man a lot. I also watched Masters of the Universe Revelation in 2020. I'm a He-Man fan. Like this film, we're asking who's this made for. Technically, it's me. I go to this film and it's me. It was me,
like, Travis
Barry.
Knight heard your podcast was like, this guy likes Leica, huh? Well, I'm gonna make Masters of the Universe for him.
I'm up for all this stuff with Mechanic, Fisto, Ram Man, Trapjaw.
I'm surprised you know the names. Wait, was it from the actual original source as well?
Yes. So
okay,
the thing they do in this film, we don't learn any of their actual names, but we know that young Adam, of course being He-Man, Nicholas Galitzine, young Adam, when he was about 10, gave them all these nicknames. And so, yeah, we don't know actually what Fisto's real name is, but we call him Fisto. And there's a lot of very adult jokes in this.
Yes. The very first title thing, like with the age rating, says innuendo. I was like, okay, I don't know what that's about. And then, yes, as you said, there's a lot of adult jokes, which I think I misheard sometimes because I don't know what they've done to the audio of this movie because there was just some things that I just didn't get. So
that
I was like,
an issue for me.
Well, Tom, but buddy,
yes,
I have to tell
John.
you something.
Yeah. What? Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
I'm deaf, bro.
What? Sorry. Are those cochlear implants I see?
Yeah. Yes. So what were the adult jokes?
There's a lot of fisting jokes.
Yes, fisting. Of course, I got that one.
There's a moment where they talk about Ram Man because he rams people with his head. They talk about giving head.
What heads?
Like
giving head. Yes. Yeah.
And then there's a bit where Skeletor mentions that He-Man has his big sword swinging between his legs. Sword between the legs.
Jared Leto? What do you mean?
Jared Leto. That was ad-libbed.
That wasn't the line, Jared. What were you doing?
Travis is like, cut. We're gonna have to rework this scene. There's also a bit where Tila calls Cringer a pussy, And
Oh
I'm just
yes, yes.
like, can we say that in a 12A PG-13 movie? And then Adam says pussycat, and it's like, okay,
Right, okay, so I did get some of them, but
yeah.
Skeletor, the voice acting on Skeletor was very hard because it was like,
Do you know what Skeletor sounds like in the original show?
yes, I've heard yesterday when I was just doom scrolling and I came across, was it the actual person who did Skeletor, I think? Voice acted a scene from the movie.
Oh, really? The
Yeah.
original guy?
I forgot his name because I've heard the original voice. It's much higher pitch, isn't it?
So apparently, Jared Leto's performance is much more in line with the new adventures of He-Man. So,
Which we haven't watched. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
exactly. I haven't watched, so like, it's not what I expected. I heard Mark Kermode, the great UK film critic, say that he sounds like Jermaine Clement, which I think is very good. He kind of does, actually.
He
And
does, yeah.
yeah, like that's very accurate. I like Skeletor, I like his characterization, I like the way that he is a bit pathetic, but he should have the high-pitched voice. He should be saying
Yes.
like, "Ah, He-Man, I want your sword." Like, but he's got to go like, "He-Man, I must have your sword, and I will rule over Eternia." And I just think
Yes.
I want him to be a silly little dude, and he's
Yeah.
not. I don't agree with that kind of choice. Maybe that was Jared Leto's choice. Maybe that was someone else's choice. I don't know.
Yeah, Jared Leto wanted to do a character study on Skeletor for a long time now, and he
Oh
wanted
God.
to have a lower voice. It just felt like an amalgamation of sorts, well, as I said earlier. And then the writing of this film is very weird as well. At the beginning, when Adam talks about his backstory, and he's like, yeah, this happened, and this happens, and this happens. It's very conventional, and it just feels very goofy.
Again, it all feels like it's in response to stuff. I've got to wonder. So we start this film, we get the whole origin with Adam as a child, and he is sent away from Eternia because Skeletor invades. He gets sent to Earth, and I've got to wonder, is that a response to Barbie doing the whole Earth thing? Because to me,
Yeah.
we waste so much time on Earth. We waste too much time on Earth. Why is that a necessity? Why is that interesting? It feels like the first Thor movie, if it decided the moment that he finds his hammer, he's
Yeah.
just like, right, back I go. It doesn't quite line up. And I think
No.
that Eternia and all these weird and colorful characters are so much more interesting. But as we get it, because of the time that we have when we actually return to Eternia, we don't really get nearly enough of that. And this is a long film. It's like 2 hours 20. It's too long for such a simple story and simple concept. I think that it kind of shot itself in the foot by trying to do a contemporary setting for a bit of this.
Yes, it would have been interesting to see way more of Eternia because I did really like the whole visual spectacle of Eternia with the creatures and location settings, but we get very little time of that. There's only 3 locations in Eternia. In my head, for some reason, it's just like, oh yeah, you got Grey School, you got the underground thing that's been happening, and then the forest. And that's only like the 3 locations that you get to explore in this movie.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be like a sci-fi fantasy epic, but no, we don't really get enough time. And Earth is the only anchor in this film where we stop.
The Earth stuff feels much more lived in. You've nailed it about Eternia, and there's a whole bit at the end where there's like a whole crowd cheering, and I'm like,
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
hell have
Where's the
these
crowd?
guys come from? Where have you been? There's so much going on. The beginning establishes Cringer, and it's like Adam's got a little tiger pet, and then
Cringer. Sorry,
yeah,
Cringer. It's just
yes, Cringer, and then
yeah,
Cringer
Cringer.
becomes the mighty battle cat. Come on,
Yeah,
John. It's part of the
yeah.
lore. Oh
The
yeah. In
law.
in the cartoons, when Adam turns into He-Man, right? Stay with me. He gets the power and he uses that power to turn Cringer into the mighty battle cat. And that's why at the end Cringer's like a giant lion with like a helmet on.
Right,
And
right.
he's
Of
not he's no
course.
longer scared. It's good stuff, John. I promise. It's really good
Okay,
stuff.
okay,
The
okay, okay.
cartoon is
Because
so
this
much
this
fun.
movie this movie made me worried about Masters of the Universe. Like, what's it getting me into? But with the positives, the
Yes.
action, the cinematography for the fight scenes. Of course, there were some bits that were over edited and you couldn't really focus. But there was moments where the camera would just warp and distort around one point of action. So, like for example, if Adam punches Skeletor, you get to see all that different angles.
Yeah, you know in Arkham Origins when you just
Yes.
absolutely beat the snot out of Joker. It's that.
Yes.
That was so satisfying. Just seeing
So
Adam
satisfying.
beat the ever living shit out of Skeletor.
That was pretty cool to see. And then Idris Elba, he's in this movie. There were some bits that I thought worked well for him to have this arc to realize that he's been messing around for 15 years and not realizing that he has kind of like a responsibility for the story. Like at the beginning, you see him as a respected soldier, well, general. What's his full title? He said his full title. Like, you don't
Yeah,
know who
he's
I
he's
am.
he's the man-at-arms Kingsguard thing.
Yes, as Eternia crumbles, he tried to save the castle, and there was something that kind of worked with Man at Arms, having that connection back with Adam and saying, "Yeah, you got to stand up again. You got to rise tall."
Yeah, he has the strongest arc in the film, and
Yes.
I really enjoyed him. I think the film is very well cast just in general. Nicholas Galitzine makes for a good Adam. Idris Elba, as you say, Camilla Mendes, Alison Brie. It's a good cast. Like, it's well done. I enjoyed a lot of the interactions and the way that the film looks. Mostly, it's a very high budget, $200 million. And sometimes it looks pretty shoddy. Like sometimes there's
What?
some, yeah, right? There's some really obvious green screen moments of just very janky motion capture creatures. And you just kind of think to yourself, okay, so Masters of the Universe flopped. It's really flopped, bombed. It's a failure. It made just 54 million globally in its
Oh
opening
God, no.
weekend. Yes. I mean, that's barely a quarter of its $200 million budget. It's not going to make a profit. Hasn't even broken even. Reportedly, Amazon is going to lose over 100 million over this one film. It is ridiculous that this film should cost that much. Because come on, Amazon, it shouldn't be a surprise it's done badly. It's a He-Man film in 2026. The audience of this is fleeting. And when you look at the audiences who are going to the cinema, the demographics of people, it's not the people who are going to be watching a He-Man film. I'm sorry, but it's not. And I'm not saying that He-Man can't have an appeal, but if you make a film for 200 million that's not going to do very well, and you know that it's not going to do very well, you're basically setting yourself up for failure.
This is like the common theme of this episode. Who is this for?
Mm.
54 million. Oh, that
Yeah.
sounds painful.
Really, it didn't open against a lot of competition. It opened up against Scary Movie, but theoretically, there should be no crossover between Scary Movie audiences and Masters of the Universe. There was no other kids' film really to combat this. It wasn't going to be Star Wars. It should have been a straight path to a decently successful film. They've bloated it. They've spent too much money on it. They've danced around a bunch of stuff. There are people who have been comparing this to Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves,
Yes.
and Transformers 1, films that are really fantastic adaptations of their source material that are beloved and very well reviewed and just didn't come together at the box office. Now, I don't think Masters of the Universe is anywhere near as good as those other two films. But I can understand that it's a similar thing where it's like you've spent so much money on this and you're not going to get that return. You've essentially killed the franchise. Come on, it should be obvious. What are you doing?
In our recent episodes, we talked about Obsession and Backrooms and how well they've done in the box office. It's just so baffling when you think of movies like these that have such a high budget and they don't know what they're doing exactly for the CGI and all this stuff that look very shoddy. Where's the money distributed to?
I do wonder whether they will continue with this, because one thing that I do applaud about Amazon, especially when it comes to the TV side of it, is that they commit. They're saying, okay, we're putting money into a show, we're going to make more seasons of it. Will they make a sequel to this? It could happen. Probably not. Who knows how this will pan out. Ultimately, the film is fun. And as you said before, it's a very kind of classic storyline. It's very standard. There's not a whole lot to dig into. I think the one thing that does really, really work for this film is the score. Daniel Pemberton just always delivers. There was some amazing, amazing musical moments in this. And they even used the original He-Man theme a little bit at the end. And even though I would have liked it if they used that more, it was nice to have it a bit at the end and kind of wink and nudge. Because, now, this is the time for spoilers, the ending just kind of does full He-Man. The day is saved and everyone gets their classic costumes. Teela's got the little tiara and Adam's got his pink vest kind of thing. Everyone stands around and goes, ho, 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 ho. Did that stand out to you? Because that's how every episode would end, with everybody hands on their hips doing a big laugh.
No.
Did that seem weird to you,
No.
or was that okay?
I was like, oh, they're laughing at that. They must be so silly.
I wondered whether that would come across as really weird to an audience who didn't know, but I'm glad that it came across because I loved it. I think it's just so much fun, that element of it. And then we get the original He-Man theme and the score's going like, He-Man. Like, I thought that was kind of really great. And we see Battle Cat. And then just after the very first credit directed by Travis Knight, we get the GOAT, Orko, finally, my guy, you know, the little wizard dude who shows
Oh.
up right at the end? That's
Yeah.
Orko. And he's like, in today's story, we learned that. And I was just like, yes. Oh man, I felt serviced in that
Wow.
moment. How
Wow.
did you feel, not as a fan, to have a weird wizard guy come up and tell you the moral of the story?
Attacked.
You felt attacked.
Yeah, because he was like,
Oh.
didn't know about the movie today. I'm like, I'm just trying to watch the movie. I don't know who you are, but have a good day.
Empathy, kindness. Kind of the ending of the film was the best part. I loved it.
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm also the ending's the best part because it ended.
Oh,
Yeah.
God's sake.
And
Yeah,
was there another post-credit scene? Because I left.
there was one mid-credit scene which teases She-Ra, Princess of Power, who is Adam's sister. I never watched She-Ra, and I don't really know the lore behind it. But the Queen's like, yeah, one day she'll come back. It's never gonna happen. This film has flopped so hard they will never make the She-Ra film. They haven't cast that role yet. They were very careful not to show the face of whoever She-Ra is. You're looking so confused, man.
Because it's like
What's going on?
you're obviously deep in the He-Man lore. It's like, wow, there's a whole lot of things that Tom knows. And I'm like, yeah, this movie was definitely a movie. It just felt odd. There's all the references like, oh my God, this is like the opposite to me with One Piece. Because
Yes.
all the stuff that I was
yes.
telling you about One Piece. Yeah, odd movie, I have to say.
Yeah. Kung Fu Panda moment.
Oh, Kung Fu Panda moment. Yeah. So Adam realizes in the all is lost moment that the sword of power isn't really the sword of power. It's just like the Kung Fu Panda moment, the scroll, like there's some sort of power in this.
Yeah.
But no, Adam is the power.
Thor Ragnarok. Are you He-Man, the god of swords? It's fun. Again, it's this very classic hero's journey. There's not really much to be mad at. Also, Dolph Lundgren's in it.
Sorry?
Dolph Lundgren? He gets a cameo in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
He played He-Man in the 80s movie or 90s
Right.
movie. And so he's
Wow.
like, hey, get out of my spot. You're in my place. I'll give you some advice. There's He-Man.
Bro, I missed out a lot of things.
Okay, here's what you do. You watch the entirety of the original show, watch the original film, watch all the He-Man stuff, then go back to the cinema, watch Masters of the Universe, and you'll be a master of the He-Man verse.
I'm not doing all of that, Tom, for watching this movie again.
He-Man! What are you going to give Masters of the Universe out of 10?
I'm giving it a 4.
Okay, I'm going to give it 6. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Listening on YouTube. If you liked it, like, subscribe. Spotify, Apple, 5-star review if you think we're worthy, all that stuff.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Pod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom and me, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram, Reels, and YouTube Shorts. And you can find links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Elle for the excellent theme, and Ronan for logos as always. And I think that's everything. Take away given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.